Hey guys, Chris here, and welcome to the 10 to 80% state of charge charging speed and charging time test, where we put the manufacturer's claimed charging speed to the test. And Volkswagen claimed that this ID3 has a peak speed of 100 kilowatts when it comes to charging. But that is under optimal conditions, and today we have less than optimal conditions because it is 0 degrees Celsius outside, so not exactly warm. And the car has been parked overnight, so the battery is dead cold, and I've only driven it about 5 kilometers, so I've barely generated any heat in the battery. But what will be very interesting is to see just how close we can get to that claimed speed, if we can hit it at all. I'm very curious to see that with the conditions we have today. But more importantly, we are putting to the test the time it takes to charge from 10 to 80% state of charge, and also the average charging speed we get from 10 to 80% state of charge, which in my opinion is much more useful in the real world than the peak speed you get, because your average charging speed from 10 to 80% state of charge really tells you the time it takes to go from 10 to 80% state of charge. I'll also be generating a charging curve at the end of the video, so we're going to look at that so you guys can see where it's optimal to charge from until, and when you should stop charging, because some cars just, throttle at a certain percent of state of charge. But why 10 to 80% state of charge? Well, in my opinion, that is the real world usage of the battery that most people will use while on a long trip. Because going on a long trip, you will stop at a charger, at a fast charger, a lightning charger, a rapid charger, with around 10% state of charge. And often you don't want to go above 80% state of charge, because most EVs charge super slow above that percentage. So your 10 to 80% state of charge is really your useful state of charge when going on a long trip. But as I said, we don't have the most optimal conditions, and we have to try to make the conditions a bit better. And a lot of people will argument that this is an artificial way to do it, and I do agree to some extent. And the way I generate heat is it's called yo-yo driving. Or first, we're going to take the car on the motorway to load the battery under normal driving conditions. The higher the speed, the more you're loading the battery, because the more power you are demanding from the battery. But you can also do something called yo-yo driving, where you go on acceleration run after acceleration run, because loading the battery that much will generate heat inside the battery. And heat is good because the warmer the battery is, the closer it is to its optimal, charging temperature, which is around 40 degrees Celsius, the quicker charging the car will be able to take. So the colder the battery is, the slower you will charge. The warmer it is, the faster it will charge. So a way to do that is to yo-yo drive to generate as much heat as possible, because this car does not have heat preheating, neither manual or automatic. So we have to do something to simulate a warmer battery. And that's the way I do it for these tests, because these are standardized tests, so you guys can, compare car to car to car. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to take it out on the road now. We're at 20% state of charge. We're going to deplete the battery down to below 10%, and then we'll connect to a fast charger. Oh guys, before we set off, I almost forgot I have gotten my merch. Check it out guys, my 0% state of charge merch that I have had made. Link in the description box down below if you guys want to support the channel. If you want to buy the merch, that really does help a lot. So for people who want to do that, link in the description box down below. And this is a bit of an experiment, a bit of fun. I wanted to make some apparel that basically I could wear on the channel to play on the 0% state of charge thing I have been doing lately, where I take every EV basically to 0% state of charge on a range test or on the Norwegian high-speed run, and deplete the battery down to 0% state of charge. So it's a bit fun, it's a bit cool. So for people who want to support the channel, link in the description box down below. Okay guys, the results are in. So we're going to go through the data. We're going to look at the charging session, and then we're going to look at the charging curve. And at the end of the video, I'm going to compare to some of its main competitors that I have driven lately. So I'm going to overlay the video here while we're talking about the charging curve. So I connected to the charger with around 5% state of charge, but we immediately got 100 kilowatts of charging speed. I mean, boom, immediately. That is so impressive. So at 10% state of charge, where this test starts, we are at 100%. It doesn't matter. I could have connected to the charger at 9% state of charge. We would have still gotten 100 kilowatts at 10%. So we have that speed up until 27% stated charge. It's just flat. Maximum speed, flat up to that speed. And then we start, throttling a bit. It starts just slowing off just a little bit. And then at around 37-38% stated charge, it starts throttling. So it just jumps down to 85 kilowatts. So we're still charging at 85 kilowatts at 40% stated charge. And then the curve starts to slow down. So at 50% stated charge, we are at 71 kilowatts. And then at 60% stated charge, we are at 61 kilowatts. And then at 70% stated charge, we are at 48 kilowatts. And the speed stays the same. It stays flat at 48 kilowatts till 80% stated charge. What impresses me with this car, and I'm going to overlay the curve now so you guys can see, is just how flat it is. I mean, we get that maximum speed while connecting at 10%, and it's just flat basically up to almost 40%. It slows a bit down, from 27 kilowatts, but basically till 40%, it is super flat. And then we start throttling, but still at like 80% stated charge, we are almost at 50 kilowatts, which is a nice and impressive speed. I mean, this car impresses me. There is no other EV at this price point that charges like this. But what impresses me the most is just how close we get to that claimed speed. 100 kilowatts of claimed speed, and boom, we get it right away. I don't know of any other car, and I have not driven any other EV in like this type of temperature that gets the maximum speed immediately. Yes, we did yo-yo driving. Yes, we did motorway driving. But still, even my Audi e-tron, when I connected, though it was minus like 12 degrees Celsius, but we really did yo-yo driving in that car. And that car, even though with similar conditions, would still be maybe like 130, 140 while connecting it, and it would heat up the battery while charging. This just got the maximum speed right off the bat. That really impresses me and blows my mind. Just how reliable and how easy it is to get this speed. And if you saw my video yesterday, my winter range efficiency and charging test with this car, I didn't yo-yo drive it at all. I just connected it to a charger and I got that same speed. So getting the maximum speed in this car seems to be very easy and very reliable. And that is absolutely something to commend this car for. So we're going to look at the time it took. So the total time was 34 minutes and 40 seconds to go from 10 to 80% state of charge. And that in itself is impressive. I haven't driven many cars that can do that faster. I think the only car I've driven that does that faster is my Audi e-tron, which did it in 25 minutes, but that car just charges on a different level from everything else. Link in the description box down below if you haven't seen that video, because that will blow your mind. So that was our charging time. And then if we look at what that equates to in metrics, that is 34.67 minutes or 0.578 hours. So that's the math. And then the juice that was delivered was 41.197 kilowatt hours. So you take that number divided by the time, 0.578, you get an average charging speed of 71.3 kilowatts, which again is super impressive. Remember, this car has a peak speed of 100 kilowatts, and our average speed from 10 to 80% stated charge is within 30% of the maximum speed. That is impressive, and again, only the Audi e-tron and maybe the Porsche Taycan will come close to that, and maybe actually the Kia e-Soul. I'll have to do that math. But still, guys, that is super, super impressive. And just to put that into perspective, if you take the Polestar 2, and I like using the Polestar 2 as an example because the numbers are very easy. Peak speed, 150 kilowatts. Average charging speed from 10 to 80%, 75 kilowatts. Half. Tesla Model 3 long range 2021 model with the LG battery pack. Tesla don't quote the speed, and previous model years have a maximum speed of 250 kilowatts, but what I have seen from my videos and other videos is about 190 kilowatts is the peak speed. But the average speed from 10 to 80%, 86 kilowatts, again half. This car, maximum speed 100 kilowatts, average speed 71.3 kilowatts. I just want to emphasize that because that is super important. The maximum claimed charging speed doesn't matter because this car has a claimed maximum charging speed which is 50 kilowatts lower than the Polestar 2, but the average charging speed is only within 4 kilowatts. That is insane. So guys, I am super impressed by this car. And I can't wait to test the 77 kilowatt hour battery pack because that has even faster charging at 125 kilowatts. So let's compare this to some of its competitors. So you have the Kia e-Soul, which did the same test in 51 minutes with an average charging speed of 59 kilowatts, which is, yeah, much longer, but that car does have a bigger battery pack, a 64 kilowatt hour net capacity, while this has a 58 kilowatt hour net capacity, and that car will go further. I have tested that in similar conditions with the similar route, but that car going below 3% state of charge is very scary, so you have to consider that also. But still, 34 minutes versus 51 minutes, that is a huge difference. Even though the average speed of 59 versus 71 doesn't seem that big, of course this has also to do with the smaller battery pack, but still guys, getting that 70% of your range, 70% of the 420 kilometer WLTP range in 34 minutes is impressive. So guys, I am very impressed by this car. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you have an ID3 and are you getting consistently this speed, or are you not getting this speed? I would like to know if this is just unique to this car or if there are people out there getting this speed on a consistent basis. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below, and for more car content, as always guys, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.